It was Harry Holt, the founder of Holt Adoption Agency and a self-made multimillionaire American from Oregon who wanted to help the biracial Korean orphans from the Korean War. He spent his hard-earned money to build orphanage facilities in Korea and made significant legal changes in America and Korea so these biracial children could be adopted overseas where they could grow up in a family, his ultimate dream. Well, his dream came true for more than 200,000 Koreans who ended up overseas adopted into a new family. 56 years later, I stand here today as an American who once was a Korean orphan in Busan, a real byproduct of his hard work and generosity. On March 5, 1971, someone found me in a parked car near the garden of the Gukjae Hotel at 1394 Jung-il-dong in Busan in the Haeundae area. The police officers estimated my age was approximately a month old as no actual birth date was provided. Next, I was transferred to the chief of Dongnae Police Station and then brought to the reception center around midnight the same day. Days later, I went to Dongseong-won Orphanage where I lived there for 3 years before I was sent to America on November 24, 1974, to my adoptive family. Like the 200,000 adoptees adopted abroad, our lives required us to erase our Korean heritage and forget about our lives in Korea. We didn't have Korean names to match our faces. Instead, we had Western names like Smith, Riley, or Johnson, which didn't match our Asian faces. Our motherland native language we spoke as kids had been quickly substituted with English. Our parents, siblings, friends in our community we grew up in were oftentimes white. Many have never had any exposure to any Asian people until they moved to American metropolitan cities as adults. Unlike you as Native Koreans, we have never experienced a strong connection with our biological families. Nor have we had a clear understanding of our Korean roots and personalized history in Korea. Instead, we always knew we were different. We looked different, we felt different from our family, friends, and our community. When we look in the mirror, it's a reflection of a stranger because there are pieces of us we can't identify with. Thus, many adoptees are seeking missing pieces of our identity that includes information about our birth parents and our history in Korea prior to being adopted. Like most of the 200,000 adoptees sent overseas, I don't have any birth parent information to initiate a search. No one from the Korean government, adoption agencies, Korean police agency, or adoptee-run organizations can assist with a search for most of the adoptees because most adoptees don't have information on their birth families. According to the Korean government, only 2.5% of the 90,000 birth family search requests resulted in finding their birth family. In other words, only 2,250 adoptees could find their birth family, while 87,750 adoptees couldn't. Plus, thousands more of adoptees don't attempt a search knowing it's too difficult to discover any information on their birth families. Korea Reconnect wants to help all adoptees and birth families who have been turned away by the adoption agencies from searching by providing a unique searching tool that finally allows anyone to search for each other. Korea Reconnect is asking for birth parents and adoptees to enter whatever unique clues they have about their birth family and relinquishment stories, such as the year or date of the birth or relinquishment, and the city and location of where the birth and relinquishment took place, as these kinds of facts were recorded in the adoptee's adoption or orphanage records. Some adoptees were found with their Korean names and birth dates pinned on them. Since facts about the relinquishment are often recorded, these kinds of information are important clues that can be used for searching for one another. More importantly, a birth mother from Korea or an adoptee anywhere in the world can participate in this service from the privacy of their own home. Korea birth parents don't have to reveal their past, but can still search anonymously. A curious birth mother can access this database online or have someone help her and search and review any potential profile matches as often as she wants. DNA testing will be the final step to confirm any biological matches. David Kim, a native Korean who helped Harry Holt launch a Holt Adoption Agency back in the 1950s, worked for Holt both in Korea and Oregon for more than 50 years. Eventually becoming the president and a board member for Holt, he wrote a book called Who Will Answer, as he was trying to find homes for the thousands of orphans in Korea. 56 years later, I asked the same question: who will answer? Who will answer the Korean birth parents' question they ask themselves? What happened to my birth child? Did I make the right decision? Is my birth child safe and happy? Do these birth parents have a right to these answers before they pass away? Who will answer the hundreds of thousands of adoptees' questions? Why was I given up? Do I have any biological brothers or sisters? What were the circumstances to my birth and relinquishment? What medical history exists in my biological family? Do adoptees have a right to these answers, as many of them are starting their own families? These questions adoptees and birth parents ask never go away, no matter how many years have passed. Your contribution will, 1, provide birth parents and adoptees a sense of hope that they could possibly learn something about each other. Number 2, link adoptees with others based on their shared history, connecting adoptees who spent time in the same orphanages, who were cared for by the same foster mother, or link those who were on the same flight to their adoptive country. 3, building stronger connections to Korea for adoptees by teaching them more about the history of the orphanages they spent in, and also people who cared for them. While this kind of project is important for the adoption community, financially strained organizations like adoption agencies and Korean government organizations aren't able to support it, as healing these wounds isn't a top priority for them. But speaking on behalf of the adoptee community, this kind of service is exactly what adoptees want and need. Plus, it's something that can benefit the birth families who've suffered long enough. 56 years ago, Harry Holt, an American, came to Korea and spent his hard-earned money during his retirement years advocating for these Korean orphans. Now you have an opportunity to continue his legacy by helping these same Korean orphans heal their emotional pain and sense of loss from their birth families and birth country. Unlike you, they are not connected to their Korean roots that reflect their racial identity. Your contribution will truly impact hundreds of thousands of adoptees all over the world, giving each of us a chance to understand our racial identity and personal history in Korea will fill in those missing pieces we've lived with for all these years. Thank you. 감사합니다.